coffee? Where's my coffee? I've already lost my coffee. It's right here behind me. Welcome to Smell It Sunday here on my secondary channel, Aromatically Speaking. This is a show that I stream live most every Sundays, where we get together, we chat, we go live so I can read your chats, your comments live on the air, and we talk about aromatics, we talk about candles, we talk about the candle industry. It's been a while since we've had a good talk about the candle industry and where it's going and how we're feeling about it, but we also talk about nostalgia, things that just make us feel warm and cozy inside the heart. You know what I mean? To set the stage, to set the mood for a relaxing Sunday, I always have my hot beverage in hand. Today I have an Ethiopian coffee to warm my bones because it is pretty chilly today. I'm in the upper part of New York State and I have plenty of candles here to help me escape mentally to those warm, rainy, misty, sunshiny days of spring. And sometimes those days where it drizzles and we enjoy the outside from the inside via the window. How are we all doing today, folks? I want to wait for some of you to trickle in. In the meantime, I'm going to lower that music. If that's not stock music, I don't know what is. How are we doing? How was everyone's St. Patrick's Day? Last Sunday, I was not here, I was here, but I did not do a live because I figured a lot of you would be busy and have some plans. I'm gonna pull you guys up. I have my computer down here, so I'm not being rude. I look down here so I can see you guys and I can see that we're trickling in. I'm running quite a bit late today. So Nick, we see Google virus. Uh-oh, Google virus. Well, at least it's not a Candle Enthusiast virus. But happy to see you. I don't think we've ever been acquainted before. And then we have Rihanna. I can't quite do the accent. And Super Simple Arts and Crafts, Monica Carlson. I have a sibling in the house, my sister-in-law. So I figured, you know, I've been gone for a while, and I think you all know I've been taking a little bit of a break from my main channel, which is the Candle Enthusiast. If you haven't already, please swing on over to the Candle Enthusiast. That's my main channel. That's where I put all of my edited content. This is where we just have fun. We go live and we just chat. But the main channel is where things are going on. And I've been away from the channel for quite a bit, but I've been noticing a spike in the views and the comments in all my videos. And this is telling me one thing. Candle season is right around the corner, my friends. People are watching candle content. They usually take a little bit of a break, a hiatus, if you will, right after Christmas. But people are already starting to talk about Halloween. They're talking about summer fragrances. It's a whole lot of fun. So and Rihanna says I'm pretty close with the pronunciation. We'll have to work on that. Monica, I wore this shirt because, yes, it is a very spring color, but I knew I would be introducing this candle first. Thank you for the segue. And Monica, you can see right there, my little trip to the Disney store worked out in my favor. Today what we're going to focus on is, we're going to be talking about spring scents. So if any of you guys are joining in for the first time, we sit here, we chat, but I have a whole bunch, over a dozen Yankee Candles here. None of them are actually brand new. These are what I would call rare candles, retired candles. If you're from the US, some of these are European releases, so very tricky to find unless you find them as a second in an outlet. Also, I have some Yankee Candle archives. Yankee Candle archives is a segment that I started on my main channel more than a year ago, where I took a contemporary Yankee Candle, like one that was made yesterday, but I also took one that was made 25, 30 years ago, and we compared the two to see how the candle, if it had degraded, if it had maintained its integrity, if it smelled good, if the smell profile was different, if the old one was funky. So we have a few Yankee Candle archives. We're going to be comparing and contrasting some new with some old candles. That's always one of my favorite things to do here on the channel. So the first candle on here on the list, let's just jump right into it. This is, I don't know when this candle was introduced. This is an American jar. You can always tell, excuse me for those of you who already know this, but you see right here it says American's best loved candle right there on the top. It'll say a passion for fragrance if it's a European release. Also, of course, nowadays Yankee Candle is constantly, by the day, changing their labels. But this was, I think, what many would consider their classic label look. This fragrance right here called Country Lemonade. And let me tell you, when I think about spring, I think about lemonade. I think about the baseball park. I think about Little League. I think about the trips that my parents took me to, not the new, but the old Yankee Stadium, and waiting on line to, yes, I was raised a New York Yankees fan, forgive me. But waiting on line to get that fresh squeezed lemonade. It was simply 3 ingredients: ice, what they called sweet water, and freshly squeezed lemonade. I think those were the only ingredients. But even though it's simplicity, I'm always trying to recreate, oh my God, that's not what this is. Always trying to recreate that aroma. This is fun. I haven't rehearsed this, so I like this because I'm getting a little, it's been a while since I smelled some of these. This is a much more candy forward lemonade. I have to break this down. We can't just sum this up in a sentence. Let's start with lemon heads, that really zesty, sweet, not tart. The sweet, zesty candy. Lemon heads are perfect, perfect. I recently had, I didn't even know they made them still, a lemon flavored Tootsie Pops. Yeah, and no kidding, it tastes just as much like the zest as it does like the juice. And so that's what I'm getting. I'm getting a heavily sugar-fied, cane sugar, corn syrup, whatever, candy, lemon head, sweet, but not tart candy. But that's not to say that this is not tart, because it is. I just wanted to get that sweet candy out of the way. This is tart, like straight up citric acid. Yes, yes. Think about Sunny Delight. Now, Sunny Delight, a lot of people think is an orange beverage. It is. It has oranges and, I'm sure, tangerine concentrate and stuff in it. But it's really a citrus-based beverage. It's got lemon, it's got lime, I think it even has grapefruit. It even has, believe it or not, like apples, pears, tree fruit inside Sunny Delight. So don't think of sour, don't think of warhead candies, think of that tangy. And speaking of tangy, we can think of Tang, the orange drink. Think of that tanginess that we find in citric acid. Citric acid, not to get too sciencey on you, but citric acid is a little bit different than malic acid. Malic acid is like something that we taste on a, like a Chardonnay, or for those of you who are not wine drinkers or not of age, think about like a Granny Smith apple. That tartness, that sourness when you bite into a slightly underripe Granny Smith apple, that's malic acid. It's different than citric acid. Citric acid right here. Gummy worms, man. I'm telling you, gummy worms. If that's going off a little bit of the candy component, but there is that pectin, gelatinous. These don't sound like pleasant words, but pectin, whatever the thickening agents that they put into gummy candies, whether it be teddy bears, whether it be jelly beans, whether it be gummy worms. This smells like a lemon head. Yes, a lemon head flavored gummy worm that's been soaking in tart, obviously tart, but lemon juice. Like just soaking in a jug, infusing its flavors into that candy. This is definitely a lemon candle. Listen to me carefully. This is why I wanted to talk about this candle, and why I really do enjoy this candle. This is not that lemon pledge clean, Mr. Clean smell factor lemon kind of candle. A lot of people like the smell of furniture polish and that clean smelling lemon, right? Pine sol. That's not what this is. This is refreshing. This is tart. This is sweet. If we looked at something like All Is Bright, this was released for Christmas 2016. This has a little bit of that effervescence to it. It's a little bit creamier than this, but most importantly, it has that lemon essence, that oil that we find in the zest, which it is refreshing, but it does, for some people, lean a little bit closer to that edge of lemon pledge, and to them, some people just don't dig that, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But know that country lemonade is different. Remember, this is not sparkling lemonade. It looks like sparkling lemonade by the label there, but it is not. And someone said, Nancy said, All Is Bright is my jam. That's right. This one got a lot of hate. It did. It got a lot of hate, at least on the internet when it first came out. But guess what? You know, it's still floating around out there. Still floating around. And then let's look at one more lemon candle. I'm not going to break this down, but just for a comparison, because you're probably thinking, well, what about Sicilian lemon? A lot of folks know that I adore this candle. To me, this is more of a lemon grove experience. We're going to move on in a second, but this really does have a lot of green aromas. This smells... I made a video called Drink It. Drink It. Type in the Candle Enthusiast, Drink It, and Sicilian Lemon, where I took a juicer, like a Breville juicer, and I juiced full lemons. Didn't peel them. Full lemons, a cucumber, and a Granny Smith apple. Bam. I was drinking a beverage that tasted like this candle smells, Sicilian lemon. The green from the cucumber skins, didn't remove the greens, gave it a little bit of that leafy vegetation outdoors in the grove aroma. It has greenness to it. And although it's tart like you wouldn't believe, like lemon juice in your eye, it does still have tons of zestiness. And some people still say that this does, especially when it burns, it leans towards that lemon pledge. But I highly recommend checking this one out. I wish I could give you a little bit more information on it. There's so many. There's Meyer lemon, there's sparkling lemon, country lemon. I wish I could give you more information. I will say that this had a recent pour last year. At least that's when this one was. Inside here on the glass, there's little sprigs of mint. I don't smell mint. But you need that punch of contrasting colors on the label. All right. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Uda's in the house. Did I miss anybody? Let's talk about. I have a lot of options here. A lot of options. This year seems to be the anniversary of so many things, especially films. I've noticed. We have the 80th anniversary of Wizard of Oz. We have the 80th anniversary of Gone with the Wind. We have, what is it, the 60th anniversary of Sleeping Beauty, Walt Disney's Sleeping Beauty. So many, God, there's a whole list of things. And they're eluding me at the moment, but it's also the 30th anniversary of Walt Disney's The Little Mermaid. And there's a candle that I've been sitting on for a while, and you guys are going to want to listen up, because I know a lot of you are swirl candle fans. Swirl candles by Yankee Candle are two fragrances that were quite literally swirled, or they were split into quadrants. They look like that. You see that? We've got two blues, two whites, two fragrances in one jar. They have been discontinued because the production to make them was quite difficult and much different than the ordinary Yankee Candle, so they do not make them anymore. But this is one that I just don't see anyone talking about, and it's comprised of two really pretty fragrances. And the reason why I'm talking about the Little Mermaid is because obviously, this candle has taken a little bit of inspiration from the Little Mermaid. Under the Sea. Oh yes. Come on, admit it. Who is a Little Mermaid fan out there? Where are the Disney fans? Under the Sea. Now, Kringle Candle has made a candle called Under the Sea. There's a lot of Little Mermaid themed candles out there, but it's just great to see one by Yankee Candle. Now, of course, there's no, to avoid any copyright issues, it's just called Under the Sea. There's no mermaids or anything on here, but we do see a bunch of seafloor items. We see starfish, coral, some little fishies, small guys on the bottom of the sea, and a little bit of a rattle here, which means it's starting to show a little bit of age. The wax is shrinking, but it is really cold in my studio here. It has to be. So that can shrink the wax a little bit. But look at that blue and white. A lot of these swirl candles were homogenized. They were all just one color too. So this really is a pretty experience. And this is one that I've never burned, and you can tell that these are hand poured. They literally are hand poured. They had to put dividers in these jars, pour the wax individually in each quadrant, and the result is you have like this wick that's just globbed with wax. So they always burned very well. And what I love about the fact that this is a swirl candle and the theme here is that we do get a sea saltiness, under the sea, saline-rich beach smell. Now, the language of aromas in the fragrance industry, whenever you're describing a beach fragrance, you have to have a combination of beach florals. Usually it's comprised of like jasmine and lavender, and sometimes things like lily and help me out. Jasmine, what am I not mentioning? Lily is a good one. Sometimes lilac, even though that's couldn't be further from a beach flower. So there is this sense of being under the sea. However, because we have this blue and we have this white, it's as if we are in the sea. Because I smell sea. I feel like I'm in the ocean, but I also feel like I'm sitting on the coast. I'm sitting on the sand, because those florals and, you know, that breeze that pours in, just like that right there, right? when the tide's coming in and you get that smell from all of that goodness that's coming from the water, but it's also swirling everything that's around you that's aromatic, and everything is saturated, and so everything is extra powerful and intense, the aromas. This candle smells like we're in the water, but we're also sitting on the coast. Now think about this. Ariel, Little Mermaid, right? She lives under the sea, but she wants to trade her flipper, her fins, as she calls them, for legs. She wants feet. She can't, she has this conflict of land versus ocean, and that kind of got me excited with this candle, because this is a little bit ocean, this is a little bit land. It's like Ariel's dilemma. That's what this candle should be called, Ariel's dilemma. Really, really nice candle, long time retired, but it is readily available on places like eBay if you're willing to spend a little bit extra money and the shipping cost. Now this candle is comprised of, like I said, two popular fragrances. One is not, I don't think, in production anymore, but it will come back. The one we will be able to find, and forgive me for not having the full jar, is Ocean Star. Ocean Star is really that under the sea, that salty, kelpy, little bit of the beach floral smell. And where this is more of that mineral-rich, chalky, but still saline and beach florals. Little bit more musky here. Actually much more musky. I haven't opened this jar in a while. Even a little bit of like a spiciness. Spiciness in the form of, not like, it's that kind of spice, but like a spicy bergamot. Doesn't smell like cracked black pepper, but that sensation when you smell fresh cracked black pepper, you get a little bit sneezy in your nostril, like many men's colognes. Ooh, and you know, it's been a while since I smelled this candle. Little bit of French vanilla. And maybe not so much those beach flowers here. Maybe I'm jumping the gun. Maybe that muskiness is really a white musk, a floral musk, a white florals, where this smells like beach flowers. It's not really that musky. Sure. It's musky. It's musky. All right, I take that back. But in a different way. That's an herbal like muskiness. You know, that's like because I said that kelp, that greenage of being under the sea. Really, that think about like a pesto, or not pesto, but like freshly chopped herbs. Not musky, but it reminds you of a musky cologne. It's funny how both of these could be unisex fragrances, and yet together, to me, this could only be, not only, do whatever you want, but to me, that's definitely leans more towards the feminine side of perfumes, colognes. How are we all doing down here? How do you pronounce that flower? I've seen it before, but I'll be honest, I don't know how to pronounce it, Nancy. Is it TR? TR flowers? Florals is not my strongest place. When I was training my nose for the wine industry, you really didn't have to go crazy with your varieties of florals, as long as you knew kind of the basic differences between the groups of florals. But with candles, you know, you're always talking about florals, so you really need to up your vocabulary on florals. And you know, although I've been training my nose with florals since I started this channel, it's still a complicated thing. You can't just go to a florist. usually get flowers purposely bred to not smell. So you really have to go to like botanical gardens and to train your nose to recognize, pinpoint certain florals. Is one of the more complicated things to pull off, at least that I find. Yankee Candle Archives, folks. Yankee Candle Archives. Again, this is usually a segment that I do on my main channel. Just going to repeat what I said before. I'm going to take an old Yankee Candle. Old meaning one that was produced. This one was poured just about 20 years ago, maybe a little bit less. Look at this jar. Wow, look at that. These were really cool. Flat top. You could really stack these to organize them well. This also, it was a collection. Several candles came out. The classics, Macintosh, I believe, came out in these frosted glasses. I don't know if it had a specific name, this collection. But late 90s, early 2000s, Stormwatch. It's going to be very hard to see that label because of that frosted glass and because of the soft focus. But that is the classic Stormwatch. And just a little bit of trivia, because this came up on some forums on Facebook recently. Does everybody know that Stormwatch, this is what it looks like today, right? Stormwatch, at least with the full-size label. Stormwatch was originally released as a non-scented candle. Stormwatch. It was released as a non-scented candle. Stormwatch. If you lost your power, it was a candle that you could use for illumination. It was a non-scented candle when it was first released in 1997, I believe. And then when it was re-released, they gave it a fragrance. They gave it a pretty hefty profile. And just to save us a little bit of time, let me give you Yankee Candle's notes on this fragrance. These are their official notes. These are not the ones they necessarily share with the customers. Top notes of lemon, fresh leafy greens, apple, bergamot, and ozone. Mid notes of rose, jasmine, lavender, violet. Violet was the one I was looking for. Lilac, clover, and hyacinth. So a lot of those beach flowers there too, which makes sense because that's what the photo shows us. Bottom notes of oak moss, huge one there. Something I haven't talked about in a while. Oak moss, musk, sheer musk, and bright cedar. So what confuses me is the difference. Well, what is the difference between musk and sheer musk? Sheer musk isn't really a term in the fragrance industry as far as I'm concerned. So let me give this is a 2017 pour of Stormwatch. Again, just a nice purple blue sky with a bolt of lightning. I guess you don't see the ocean. You see the ocean on this one, but I guess it feels like you're by the harbor when you look at this candle. Yeah, I mean, I see why this candle has had longevity. It really is a complex candle. It's so easy to want to just say fabric softener. And that always bothers me a little bit because fabric softeners, you know, the big brands, you know, it's easy to classify a fabric softener as, oh, it smells like fabric softener. But do you know how many ingredients, how many fragrances go into the recipes of some of the better fabric softeners and laundry detergents? There's a lot of stuff going on in there. And not only does this have the boisterousness of a fabric softener, but I feel like it's more complex because it does have that country clean laundry room. I'm definitely picking up that lilac. I'm definitely picking up that more aggressive floral like that hyacinth. It's going to have that bright, it's going to be brightened up by those citrus notes. And it does have a powdery musk. I don't know sheer musk, really. If anyone's done research on musk, I've done my fair share. It's just one of these complicated things where I think people just throw around this term, you know, musk. It really is. We could break it down from a chemical engineer standpoint that it has to have certain kind of compounds, but when you start throwing these adjectives before the word musk, it really starts to get complicated. So when they say musk and sheer musk, what does that mean? Does it mean it's musky, but it's also a little bit musky too? I'm not making fun. I'm not judging. I'm curious to know. And that oak moss, think of oak moss as green grass, not fresh cut grass. Not the mounds of grass that you rake up in the summer and it's a little bit wet. It's not that kind of grass. This is like dried grass, you know, when the hot summers when your lawn turns all brown on you. Or even in autumn, you know, the smells of like hay bales or, you know, just hay is everywhere, right? The hay rides, or being at the farm, or when they throw hay down on top of the soil, there's this dried out grassy vegetation. And that's what oak moss brings to the picture. It really brings a sense of earth, a sense of place. This is what's going to separate a candle like this from just being a pretty perfume to actually being a pretty perfume, but also it's going to bring the authenticity. It's really actually going to transport you to a place. I don't think I've really given this candle as much attention in the past as I should have. Stormwatch, I really do think that this candle, again, it's been around for a while for good reason. But a lot of people just seem to say, oh, it smells cologne-y, it smells like laundry detergent, and kind of dismiss it. The next time you try a Yankee Candle and you see it, or if you have it on your shelf, pick it up and smell it, and really try to start to dissect the different notes. And I think you'll really appreciate how complex it really is. There's also that woodiness. There's that fresh timber. We could say teak wood. We could say sandalwood, like a sandalwood accord. They say, what did they say? They said bright cedar. Yeah, why not? Why not? That works for me. But the whole point of this is to take this new scent with one that's, give or take, 20 years old. Let's see if the recipe's changed, if the candle has gone sour. Well, let's just see what's going on. I think you get the topic. I did buy this used, and it's horribly tunneled. So when I make an official video for Stormwatch, I'm going to show you how, I've done it before in my videos, but to not just make it look better, but to actually fix a tunneled candle. There's a correct way to do it, and a lot of people say once it happens, your candle's done. That's not true. There are ways to correct issues. Now, how cool would it be if this candle glowed in the dark? I'm not into that kind of stuff, but Stormwatch, power going out, it glows in the dark. It kind of looks like it would glow in the dark based on the color. See this? I just got a bunch of questions. It's funny, I'm going into my mailbox and seeing a lot of people asking me, I haven't been asked in a while, why I do this. I rub the lid on top of the jar. It's something I carried over from wine evaluation. Again, I worked in the wine industry for many years. And you can't swirl a candle like you can a glass of wine. But this is a little trick. Just try it. Try it. I'm not going to try to bore you with explaining the science. But a little bit of friction like this, right? A little bit of that agitation will help volatilize, right? Volatilize a little bit of the oils. It'll create a little bit of turbulence inside the jar. So when you smell it, it gives you just a little punch of extra aroma. try it. I think you'll see exactly what I mean. It's not just some silly idiosyncrasy that I have, even though it's kind of become an idiosyncrasy. What I'm much more impressed about this candle is that this, and appropriately so, if you see on that label it's hard, but there's a light tower, and the picture is of a harbor. This is a much more mineral rich minerality. It's not in the dictionary, that word, but that is a word that's commonly, well, actually almost every day, every conversation when you're talking about wine, it's a word that comes up, minerality. There is a rocky, cold slate, crushed rock, gravel. We could even say chalky limestone kind of minerality here. And I've talked about this in the past. This is not nearly done enough in the world of candles. Minerality, rockiness, earthiness. Earthiness we can do, like fertile soil. But it seems like when it comes to things like rock, crushed rock, that smell of fresh rain on a hot day on the asphalt or the cement, right? And it cools down the stone, right? We all know that smell. It's such a pretty thing, and it brings us, again, it's a sense of place. It helps us escape. Well, what I'm finding with this candle immediately is that there is this saltiness of the coast, the harbor. I've said saline. Let me try to get another word. I can't say brininess. Let's saline, sodium rich. I don't know. I feel like I've said salty too much, but there's that sea breeze smell, and ozone is in here, isn't it? Ozone usually typically means like chlorine, and you know what? I get that now, because that kind of falls into the minerality category. So I can't say for sure, because these candles are so much older, or there's such an age separation. But what I will say, the way they're showing it right now, this is much more aggressive on florals. Those mid notes, rose, jasmine, lavender, violet, lilac, clover, and hyacinth. Yeah, that's really coming through. Where here, I'm getting some of those, especially the hyacinth and the muskiness, maybe like a light rose musk. But really, to me, it's, like I said, it's more about that salty, fruity, bright aromas, and it's not nearly as intense. Now, not complex, I don't mean by that. No, intensity is strength of aroma. Now, we're talking about cold candles. These aren't burning. But this would be a medium minus candle, maybe even something like a light plus intensity, which I'm okay with. A lot of people love high intensity candles. They must have high intensity candles. That's what this is going to be. It's maybe not high, but it's definitely medium plus, high minus. It's up there in high intensity, where this, whether it has dwindled with age, I think it was much more of a subtle, much more balanced, really, fragrance, if this is how it smelled when it was originally released. So this is an example where, whether it be the age, whether it be a change of recipe, where we're looking at the same fragrance from the same company, but we're looking at two different profiles. And I'm not smelling anything like, this is not a spoiled, this is not sour, this is not rancid, this hasn't started to, you can smell funkiness on a candle when it goes bad. I don't smell that. I just smell a different profile. Interesting, right? It's a little bit frustrating, right? It's a little bit frustrating because sometimes we love a fragrance and we want the same exact thing all the time. But usually that's not the case. There's always evolution. It's the same thing with the wine world. If you have a favorite wine, and then the next vintage, the next year, you go buy that same wine, you're like, this doesn't taste exactly the same. That's perfectly normal. How are we? I say I'm always gonna keep beautiful toy reviews. I haven't seen you in a while. Beautiful toy reviews. Thank you for joining in. Danny is here. Speaking of Danny was mentioning. God, I wish I could just cut away to a clip right now. Danny was talking about. I posted a little bit a while ago on my Instagram account about. I have a few more of my limited edition Candle Enthusiast mugs. I don't have mine here with me today. But if you go to my Instagram account, candle.enthusiast, if you go on my Instagram, you'll see pictures of it. And a limited edition to 50, sold most of them. It was great because people took them all over the world. They've gone to Disney World. We had my mug at the original Starbucks location at Pike Place in Seattle. We had my mug in Salem. We had my mug up on the Rocky Mountains. It was so cool. A lot of people have taken my mug to really fun places, and it was an honor for me. But it got to a point where I removed. I was selling them via eBay. I just removed them, and I still have a bunch. So if anyone's interested, whether you're watching this now, send me a message somehow. Or if you're watching this later, put it in the comments below. I want to see how many people are interested because what I did was I didn't buy. There was a limited edition to 50, but I didn't buy all 50 at once, right? I sold about 40, about 37, 40 somewhere. So I got to figure it out because they were all hand numbered, but. I want to make sure if I place an order to get to the 50, that everyone wants one. They're really cool. And then once I sell them out, I will be working on a new design, maybe a different product, maybe it won't be a mug. But if you're interested in that, I make absolutely no money on the mugs. Not for the channel, it's not for a profit, it's simply just my way of thanking you guys, and maybe it's a way you can drink your hot beverage when you watch me, but the cost of the mug to have it shipped to me, then to have it shipped to you, the eBay cost, I don't make a dime. I don't make a dime on them. It's simply just, I get a kick out of sharing them with you. And Nicole says, I see Vanellope. We got Vanellope von Schweetz, voiced by Sarah Silverman from Wreck-It Ralph and Ralph Breaks the Internet. I like plush. I will admit, I am in my mid-30s, and I own probably over 100 plush, Disney plush from my childhood that I've held on to. I still have my Teddy Ruxpin. I don't keep it in my office or the studio, but I still have it. I love plush because when you move, and I used to move a lot, guess what? Plush, they don't break. I hate when things break. I just broke a Yankee Candle before I went live. I broke Magic. Look at this. Look at this. How much does this kill you? Magic cookie bar. I won't be able to replace this. And, you know, yeah, I can put it in a different vessel, but that's a lot of work, and I you know, that was a kind of like a one-time deal, that candle. It's frustrating, but yeah, so plush, and then I have this brand new Minnie Mouse. Minnie recently got her a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Some of you guys might, I might be losing some of you guys at this moment because I'm talking about stuffed animals, but Minnie did just get her star on the Walk of Fame, long overdue, because Mickey got his a long time ago. And I'm not quite sure, maybe Nicole, you can help me out here. This, I've never seen this one before, you know, usually, the minis that you see in the Disney store have the flesh tone, right? And they have like the red or the pink polka dotted dress. But this is more of old school Minnie, right? You know, the black and white days. She's got the oversized high heels. I loved it. I had to get it. Plush and candles. You know, some guys buy rifles and shotguns, motorcycles, vehicles, cars, knives, swords. I don't know why I'm naming all weapons. DVDs, Blu-rays. A lot of men buy a lot of different things, and that's great. I like candles and plush, right? And Danny says, oh yes, a Stormwatch video needs to happen. You're right, Danny. I need to, obviously it would be great to make the video during a thunderstorm. At least get good footage of a thunderstorm. And Rachel's not here, but Rachel, the administrator from the Candle Enthusiast Facebook fan group, huge shout out to the Facebook fan group. Go on over and join. Request to join. A lot of knowledgeable folks, fun folks over there. But Rachel, the administrator, what was I going to say? She did like a location scout for me. I asked her if she knew like a good place, like a lighthouse out on the coast of the Boston area or north of Boston, the North Shore. And not only did she give me an answer, but she gave me like a video and a huge list of different places to go to and information like where I can park, if I bring my bike, how I can drive my bike. So just a huge thank you to Rachel for that. But I haven't taken her up on it yet. So one of these days I will do it, and I have tons of harbor, beach, coast candles. I'm looking at Midnight Cove right here, Cottage Breeze, tons, Bay Breeze I have never done, Fireside I see over here, tons of those kinds of candles. So I will get to doing videos out on location with those topics. Let's keep this going. I just want to make sure I'm reading everything you guys are saying while you guys are here. I see 23 people watching now. If you are on your computer or you're on your phone, hit that thumbs up button. It sounds silly, but it helps out a lot. If you don't mind, it really helps out. As long as you're enjoying what I'm doing. Or if you're relaxed on the couch and you're watching on Apple TV, don't worry about it. But hitting that thumbs up button definitely helps me out. It's not just an ego thing, trust me. It shows YouTube that you guys are enjoying the content that I am bringing you. We got more to go. We're only at 47 minutes. You want to do another Yankee Candle Archives? Another Yankee Candle Archives. Now, I'm going to make a full video on these. But just wanted to show you, because I know a lot of people, this is a favorite for a lot of people, especially for Yankee Candle fans who are, really been with the company for a long time, who have been long-time collectors. This fragrance, goes back a very long time, and I have proof of it. This is a very recent pour. This is a 2019 pour of Country Heather. Not one that I grew up with, that's for sure. Whew, my Lord. First thing when I smelled that, just to go off on a tangent, being out in the field in the springtime, pop the head off the dandelion, and you poke your finger down the stem, and it makes the ribbons, that milky dandelion substance, dandelion milk inside. Got that beautiful bitter astringency in the best way. It sounds like it's not a good thing, but that bitter astringency that we find in that dandelion. Wildflowers galore. And what I love about this is that at the forefront is all of these floral notes. And the top notes and the base notes aren't getting in the way. Base notes are really going to be the muskiness from the floral. So it's kind of like the mid notes and the bottom notes are really kind of one of the same, but there's got to be something in here that's citrusy that's going to be brightening this out. Like the pith, P-I-T-H, the pith of an orange, a navel orange. Again, that's gonna give it a little bit more of that pleasant bitterness, astringency, but it gives it the zestiness. So a little bit of spice, very fragrant, and then bright citrus aroma. But it's a subtle top note, which is nice. And then a big time hand lotion, oatmeal lotion, kind of hand cream-esque aroma here. So is it musky? Yes, it has a floral musk, but it has a floral creaminess too. And the florals here are a little bit fruity. There's a little bit of fruitiness in the florals. Like a vague plum skin. We could say like a Concord grape. You know, it has that really exotic, fruity, very specific. If you ever smelled a fresh Concord grape, you know what I mean. It has a very distinct fruitiness. And green, I mean, this is like greenhouse all the way. So florals, but definitely it's like you're at the florist and they have the big pile of clipped stems on the counter, you know, just that green chlorophyll. I say this from time to time. Wheatgrass, if you get your wheatgrass shot at Jamba Juice, definitely a green note. So 2019, brand new, pretty high intensity candle. A lot of people, big fans of that candle, and I completely understand why. But here is a country heather in a much older jar. This is going to date back anywhere from 1983 to 1986. It's going to be in that bracket of time. How do I know? Well, there's certain key little visual cues on the sticker is not dead. The sticker is actually fallen off and is in here, but there's some visual cues on the jar to help you determine the age. And I did buy this one used, and it was tunneled, and look how beautiful. I mean, it's cloudy, but it has been fixed. It's a little bit, you know, I gotta clean the glass a little bit, but the tunneling was fixed. We actually fixed this during a live show a long time ago. All right. Now, a much older candle, right? We're talking, could be 35 years here. 35-year difference between these two candles. I smell a little bit of age on that candle. I'm not gonna lie. Plus, it's lit too, right? You know, and you know, I fixed it, so it's not like it's a brand new candle. Plus, a lot of the oils on the top part of the wax probably missing because of it has been lit before. But down here, you can actually see how the color changes quite a bit. It gets darker down here. That oil is going to be trapped down at the bottom, but this is a much closer representation of the same aromatic profile. These two country heathers right here, 35 years, give or take, difference between the same fragrance made by the same company in the same apothecary jar. and we're looking at a very similar profile. I can smell a little bit of age on this, and what I mean by that is that, yes, there's going to be some degradation to the paraffin wax. There's going to be some, you know, the ingredients are perishable inside of candles. And although this is a much higher intensity aroma, I do feel like these are similar enough to say that the recipe is kind of spot on. There are differences. We won't get into them. I won't go too crazy because again, it's hard to really assume what has time changed, and the difference of ingredients they've changed throughout the years. But compared to the Stormwatch, much closer similarity between these two profiles. So if you are a longtime Country Heather fan by Yankee Candle, and you're shopping on eBay and you want a little like token, right there, you know, try to find something like this. You know, this is a great thing to have in your collection, especially if you have a collection where there's a couple candles you don't burn. I'm telling you, this is one of the wonderful things that I've always done with Yankee Candles, and I know there's other people out there, you know, that collect black bands and stuff like that, but I've always been fascinated with vintage Yankee Candles, and I find like it's becoming more of a popular thing now. More people are talking about it, but I've always been a fan of purchasing older Yankee Candles, or holding on to them so that as I get older, they get older, and I add them to my collection. Country Heather, that's a good one. That is a good one. Hello, Stephanie. Hello, Lou. Hello, Madeline S. Madeline S. Have we been acquainted? I apologize if we have. Nancy, outlets are so fun, you never know what you will find. I would love to see an East Coast location video and related candles. I am on the East Coast. What is it? I apologize. I lost it. I just spilled coffee in my face. I just lost you there. Somebody asked me 2 weeks ago, what is one of my favorites? What is my favorite springtime Yankee Candle? And I really didn't have an answer. My answer was silly. I was like, well, you know, I'm more of, even when it is spring or summer, I still tend to burn candles that are not seasonally summer or spring. That's not always the case, of course. But I'm not, you know, just because it's spring, I'm not necessarily going to burn a floral candle. Or if it's summer, I'm going to burn cotton candy, right? That's not how my mind works. To me, candles are more of an escape. You know, whatever I'm in the mood for. If I want to have a little bit of Christmas in May, I'll do a Christmas candle. It's just, to me, it's a form of storytelling. But you know, I was thinking about it, and you know, there's a lot of candles that I covered in the past that that I really loved, and I saw this one as I was looking for some of these candles today, and I'm like, you know what, this is something I gotta show, because I don't, you know, these are, you know, these days, you know, when you see the spring or summer candles come out, a lot of them don't come back, you know, it's rare that they come back, and this one was popular when it came out, which was spring 2017. Well, it came out, I remember getting it in my hands December 26th, 2016, I believe. That's when the spring preview came about. It was the same season as like Cafe al Fresco and Mediterranean Breeze and yeah, it was that whole Mediterranean themed spring summer thing going on. But I absolutely love this one, and you know I haven't burned it, and I don't I'm totally a house warmer guy, but I have to say I really do love burning these 2-wick tumblers now, because I don't usually burn candles for a long. It's hard for me to burn them for like 4 hours at a time. You know, it used to be easier for me, but I'm constantly moving from location to location, and sometimes I don't have a time to burn a candle, like a house warmer jar, for 4 hours. Where something like these soft wax tumblers, you know, you know, you can get away with burning these, you know, for a much shorter period of time. This is honey lavender gelato. Just real quick, because I feel like I didn't give a good answer. This is not a classic. This, you know, was a one-shot thing. It came out, like I said, a couple of years ago. But man, what's going on? Like, why is this not more popular? I mean, lemon lavender people adore, and it's a classic, and you know, it may not always be in production, but you can always somehow find it. But this is a really great take off of the same kind of idea, and you get you know, I don't even want to say gelato. To me, it's more of like a sorbet. This is like a lemon lime sorbet. You know, obviously with, you know, a good amount of dairy in there, but very tart, very sweet also, and then that dried lavender experience that's such a wonderful contrast. You know, lavender, the floral and the fruitiness, big contrast of aromas, and oh man, yeah, totally something right down my alley. And because I do have this in the house warmer and I have this in the tumbler, I think I will be lighting this soon. Now here's something. Somebody asked me a while ago, I forget how the question was phrased. Let me show you something. This is really important. You see how it's going to be very hard to see. There's a little line on the rim of the wax here. This is the case for house warmers and these tumblers. Sometimes when you're smelling them cold, it's not as accurate as what might be your experience burning it, because a lot of these candles, I can't say for sure. I mean, I can't say for sure, but I mean, it's very clear just by looking at this that what Yankee Candle does is they pour the wax into the jar, right? But they have to, you know, that wax comes out of, you know, the chute in the manufacturing, probably a little bit sloppy, and they want that nice, very soft top, right? They don't want it to look messy or sloppy. So there is a secondary pour, a cap that they put on the top. So when you look at these tumblers and you see there's a little line, you can see where it's filled and then it's just topped off. There's a much more gentle pour, so you have this softer finish. It kind of is just this polish on top. So you know, sometimes when you're smelling the lid, right, especially with these tumblers, because not all the house warmers have this. I've seen the house warmers with this cap, but most of the tumblers have them, unless it's paraffin wax in the tumbler. You know, what you're smelling is that cap. not necessarily what's underneath it. So always keep that in mind. You know, the chemistry, the ratios of that cap could be slightly different than what's underneath it. I find by smelling the house warmer jars cold gives you a better impression of what the fragrance is going to smell like. May not be as intense. I mean, this is really powerful. A house warmer is not going to smell this intense on cold, but I do believe the house warmer gives you a better representation of what the candle will smell like. And remember, smell the cap. The cap is a better representation of what the candle is going to smell like when it's airborne in your living space. So here's one that not in production and retail. Correct me if I'm wrong, but not in production and retail anytime recently. And although this is probably a summer candle, I grabbed this one. It's got the moon on it. The moon is something, a symbol that pops up in my life all the time. Love the name, love the color, and does anybody have this one? Midnight Oasis, not to be confused with Midnight Jasmine. Those are two that do commonly get mixed up. Let me give this one a sniff for you. This is a really nice sister sibling candle to Midsummer's Night. It really is. It's more citrusy. It's more contemporary. So Midsummer's Night, this is a black band, so this is a really great example. Midsummer's Night is much more of the classic musky male cologne of late 70s, 80s, even early 90s, even still today. But if it's more of an old school, this smells like my dad, right? This smells like, the cologne that my dad would wear. It's not super masculine, but it's a profile from the past, where to me this is contemporary men's cologne. And I go into perfumers and cologne shops, perfume shops all the time, and I try to pick their brains of what's most popular with the demographics of people. Like what are 20-something-year-old men or women, boys or girls, buying? What's popular fragrance for them now? And with their expertise, I ask them, how does it compare to 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago? How has the profiles of colognes and perfumes changed? And it's funny, the more I smell the popular young men's cologne of current day, they're not as bold and musky and manly, and that guy in the suit, the mustache and the gray flannels and the gray flannels and the Halston colognes that are very herbal and strong. In fact, just the opposite. The contemporary men's cologne seems to be a little bit more, can I say feminine? A little bit more tangerine, citrusy, brighter, softer florals. Definitely not as manly. I find that they smell a little bit more pretty. And I don't know if that's how young males perceive them, but it's funny how the profiles have changed from what men thought was appropriate back in the day to contemporary times. And to me, I'm saying all of this because this kind of falls into that category. A lot of bright citrus, really pretty citrus. We have the creamy and powdery, musky floral notes. things like violet, lavender, lilac. But then there's an earthiness, you know, to this too. Um, um, you know, think about fresh, like fresh roots pulled up out of the ground. You know, that might sound silly, but that is, you know, that root system smell is a very popular note in classic men's colognes. And I'm telling you, it's almost like every Axe spray, every contemporary young men's cologne. When I say young men, I mean 20, 30, maybe even older, I don't know. But definitely things like Axe body spray. Everything has lavender. Everything has citrus lavender. So this kind of smells like a well-balanced, not like nauseating high school kids spraying Axe spray like this. This kind of has that can I say androgynous kind of feminine, masculine, but contemporary men's cologne profile. Bright, citrusy, floral, soft floral aromas. I absolutely love it. I don't wear cologne myself, but you know, I'd much rather wear a cologne if I were to wear a cologne that smelled like this versus something. I love gray flannel, but you know, that, like I said, like that's my dad, like Old English and Brut by Fabergé. You know, that's my dad. That's not me. That's not how I would represent myself in the form of a cologne. This is a little bit. This is nicer. I think this is something that men would enjoy. But you know that popular phrase, the boyfriend candle. I think a lot of girls, you know, women would love to have this scent because maybe it kind of, if you're single or, yeah, if you're single and it's like, you know, it's like a companionship candle. I know that's a little bit weird, but I think that's what they mean by boyfriend candle, right? A lot of the more masculine scented candles, cologne candles, more popular with women than they are with men, at least from the research I found. Midnight Oasis. I'm going to be talking about that one again. I burned Honey Blossom this spring. Honey Blossom. Hi, Chris. Chris, I haven't seen you in a while, bud. How you doing? But then again, you probably haven't seen me in a while. I have a large jar of Storm Watch in the old label, says Abby. That's really cool. Old, what kind of old label? Like Black Band old label? Or just a full-size old label? What do you, how old do you know? I think today's generation gravitates towards fresh and freshwater and herbal scents. Yeah, I agree, Nancy. Danny says, yes, I had Midnight Oasis and it was so light in my bedroom, which is a letdown because the scent is so lovely. Quick question, Danny, was that candle, any chance was that candle like an outlet candle, like a second yellow or beige sticker, or did it have the white label? Because I would love to confirm that. Or I would love to have a chat with you, maybe a few things you could try to help increase the aromatics of the candle if it's not as powerful as you would like. I love going to the outlets, but and you guys are gonna kill me for saying this, but even things like Marshall's, Home Goods, Ollie's, don't hate me. I don't do that. I don't do a lot of that. Of course, there's always exceptions, but they're there for a reason. No matter what the sticker is on the bottom, You know, if there's a second sticker or a beige sticker, a yellow sticker on the bottom of the candle, that means there's a problem in the manufacturing. But that's only one thing, only one part of the process, right? You know, everything could be fine through manufacturing. But what if there was a shipment that was delayed and, you know, the big boxes of candles stuck in the back of a hot truck over a weekend? They're still going to have those white labels, right? And Yankee Candle is not going to put those in retail. So, you know, you have to speculate. You know, does Yankee Candle, you know, rightfully so, I won't blame them for this, but did they unload those candles to such places, bargain places like Ollie's, Marshall's, Home Goods? So, as much as like it's such a value sometimes to find candles for $8 at Home Goods and they smell fine, sometimes there's just, you know, if they're great values, buy them, burn them, but always just keep in the back of your mind that, you know, it's kind of like we shouldn't judge a candle based on its performance, one that's found at a secondhand store versus one that's found at a retail. That's my opinion. Don't hate me for that. That's just the way I see it. Because I've had candles that I've purchased candles at Marshall's, a lot of Halloween candles at Marshall's, and sometimes they're great, sometimes they're duds. But you know, they're on the bottom of the label, you know, or the bottom of the jar, they have, you know, the white stickers. That's my 2 cents. Chris says Dreamy Summer Nights is one of my favorite labels, Stephanie. Oh boy. Let me ask you, Chris, do you like there's the full size label when it was originally released, and then there's now the new thinner cropped label. Which one do you like better? Some people actually like the thinner one better. I'd show you the difference, but I think it's far back in here. Nancy says discount stores are always a gamble. I've been lucky so far. So that's it. You know, it's like if you're gonna buy them to burn them, go ahead. Sometimes you might get a dud with whatever. But if you're, you know, like for me with you know, I have a collection. Some of these I just don't burn. You know, some of them I just put on the shelf to smell them, reference them, and I have no plan on burning some of these. So I want to make sure that, you know, they're coming from retail and that they're not coming from secondhand stores. Again, I go to secondhand stores. I go to the outlets, but those are candles I usually burn, or candles that I just simply can't find anywhere else. I know it's a fall scent, but do you have farmers market? I do, Chris. You can't. Well, you can. Right here. This is kind of a snowy section here, but if you could see down here, this is where my non-Halloween autumn candles are, and I do have it. It's in the back. If you have a question about it, I would be happy to talk about it. I just might take me a couple minutes to find it. I like it. A lot of people don't. What was the other one? Applewood. There's one that I find that kind of looks the same that a lot of people don't enjoy. Fireflies in the Forest at Night, Stephanie. Red Velvet Cake was an awesome find. Red Velvet Cake. Oh man, that's my mother's favorite. There's got to be a reason why they don't bring that one back. You know, it does have a tendency to turn quick. Kind of like, God, I'm forgetting the names of them. Jeez, vanilla cupcake and Christmas cookie. They do have a tendency to. It has a tendency to turn and to become a little bit waxy and artificial. Red Velvet Cake, but when it was freshly poured and freshly burned, it always smelled amazing. And I hope that, you know, it makes a comeback. I really do. And if anyone has red velvet cake, go out and buy a buttercream, Yankee Candle buttercream candle, and burn them together if you want an explosive combination. And talking about explosive combinations, I want to talk about this again at some other point. But something that was a hit a while ago, a lot of people have been reaching out to me. I talked about this a couple weeks ago on a live, this candle. And I told everybody to check out my video on this particular candle. And people have reached out to me saying, like, because of that video, because you were talking about it, I searched for this candle, I found it, and I love it, I absolutely adore it. So I want to talk about it again. And really, if you haven't seen my video on it, it's one that I'm quite proud of, especially because it's an obscure Yankee candle that a lot of people, including myself, you know, I don't know. I tend to smell everything, but this is one that I would guarantee a lot of people would just pass completely if it was sitting on the shelf, because it's so out in left field. A lot of you know what I'm talking about. It's olive and thyme, right? Check out my video on this. It'll explain my feelings on this. It'll explain the emotional impact. To me, this, although this is not the typical home fragrance candle that you might expect, this was a European release. I don't think this would ever really be a hot seller in the US. But I took that on as a challenge to really push this. I wanted people to try this candle. This is a very, very intriguing candle that brings you to the kitchen and brings you outside if you've ever picked olives, or if you worked in a delicatessen or spent time in a delicatessen and you smelled the brininess of the olives and all of the fresh herbs, the high quality, very fragrant herbs from your local markets, your herb garden, or your reputable market. It's a really, really pretty candle that smells like high quality olive oil. It's got some lemon juice in there, and some cracked black pepper, olive oil. It's really, and with all those herbs, this smells like a beautiful garden salad. Such a pretty candle. Oh, and it's so intense. I love it. So I talked about this, and then I was thinking, because a lot of people always talk about this candle, and it was a part of the same collection. This was, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was this Olive and Thyme was a spring 2017 UK release, as was this. And I had it and I was thinking, and I'm like, wait a minute. If people really were digging this Olive and Thyme candle, this is something I need to try, because I haven't done it yet, but you guys need to try as well. Again, this was a part of the same collection. I'm almost positive. Again, this was something I never covered this candle on my channel, my main channel. But everyone always talks about this. Sea salt and sage. Sea salt and sage, olive and thyme. Okay? Follow me here. Big citrusy sage. A lot of varieties of sage out there. A lot of varieties. Some are skunky. Some are very, some can be very dill forward. Some can be very piney, like rosemary forward. This is a very citrusy sage. And with that said, there is a big time citrusy rosemary quality to this. And kosher salt. It's called sea salt. And we can say sea salt. But I cook with kosher salt almost exclusively. So sea salt, kosher salt, either way, this is Okay, think about that. Okay, citrus, herbal, salt. How do you want to figure this out in your head? Martini, baby. Okay, martini minus the tequila. Just think of, a sweetened limeade beverage infused with some herbals, some sage and rosemary, a little bit of thyme. But then you have that rimmed glass of sea salt, kosher salt, Himalayan salt, pink Himalayan salt, if you ever had that. But also sugar crystals too, because there's definitely some sweetness here too. And it definitely, again, definitely picking up on a good, kind of like a pine tree thing too. Point is, take these two together, baby. That's right. If you have found this candle and you've loved it, whether you found it through me or you found it on your own, I'm going to highly suggest, I don't know why I haven't thought of this before, olive and thyme, sea salt and sage, burn them together. Now I'm going to show you a little trick. How do you tell when two candles, how are they going to smell when you burn them together? Well, it's kind of hard, but this is one way of doing it. You take the lids and just put your nose right there. You don't have to, you can do that. But right now I'm smelling the two candles completely together, and it is incredible. It is incredible. A perfect combination. These two candles right here. Oh man! Now it might be a little bit difficult to find these, especially if you want the non-seconds label, but I stocked up on these. If you're interested, I'm gonna start putting stuff up on my Candle Enthusiast or Aromatic Adventures eBay page. Again, 100% of the proceeds go into funding the show. I stocked up on these because I love them. So if anyone's interested, let me know. But by next weekend, I will have a bunch of stuff up on my official eBay page. Again, 100% of the proceeds go to producing future adventures for us. So, any questions here? I got more candles, but I think we talked about a lot, and we can always save these candles for another day. Uda says, how many cannikins do I own? Well, that's a good question. Cannikins, if you're not sure what Uda's talking about, cannikins are very early 80s Yankee Candles that came in cans. Cannikins is something that goes back to 19th century. Used to put wax in cans, not scented wax. They came in two sizes. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7. So I have 7, I think. There might be more around here. And a couple of these, 2 of these are empty. So I don't know if that counts. Cannikins only came in fruit scents. If you check out a live I did about a month ago, I lit 2 cannikins. Again, 35 years old those are. I managed to get a small tumbler of 2x4 this week. Stephanie, that's awesome. I don't currently own a 2x4. 2x4 was a part of the men's collection, 2013, or it may have been 2014. I love the idea. I can't 100% remember precisely what it smelled like, but I love that concept. I think that was one of my favorite concepts of all of the men's collection candles. Any other questions? And if you want to leave a thumbs up, that would be very much appreciated. And kind of say some words of wisdom, or doing my little wrap up of the day. It's warm in here now. These lights. If what am I going to say? Okay. So I've been mentioning this several times. I'm working on a third channel. It's been a long time in the works, in the making, in the back of my head. I'm not going to release the name of the third channel yet, but I think it makes sense. A lot of people like all my videos. Some people only watch my candle content. Some people, really just enjoy the travel stuff and get kind of confused why I do candles and travel videos. So it's a long time in the making. I'm working on a third channel, and there's just so many other things in my life personally, and then just transitions of my life, and trying to get all my ducks in a row. But the third channel will be coming soon. I'm working really hard on it. And every now and then I'll get a comment on my main channel. People say, "Is this channel done with? Like, are you done?" And it breaks my heart, because I really want to be back and working, pumping out as many videos as I can. But please, I just have to. I feel like I'm obligated to say it. Please, just a little bit of patience. This hasn't been the easiest time of my life. A lot of things going on in my world right now, and I just really want to make sure that I'm putting out my best work. That's really what's most important to me. I want to make sure that I'm giving you guys great content. So there will always be the Candle Enthusiast. The Candle Enthusiast, I will be highlighting a lot of different candles from different candle companies, including I'll be getting back to Yankee Candle. I've taken a good break from Yankee Candle. I think I needed it personally. It was just several years in a row of just constant Yankee Candle, Yankee Candle, Yankee Candle, Yankee Candle, and it feels good to take a break from things that you love sometimes. But the new channel will be just my destination-based videos, things that have to do with candles, things that do not have to do with candles, things that have to do with aroma, but also just it's nostalgia and a lot of travel-based videos. And then we'll always have this channel here, Aromatically Speaking, which will be continue to be Smell It Sundays on, of course, Sunday live streams, but also spontaneous lives. So 3 channels. Those of you who are interested in becoming a part of the future of the Candle Enthusiast and my third channel, or a supporter of my work, a lot of people say, is there any way I can contribute a little bit to help? As uncomfortable as it always makes me feel to say it, there are plenty of ways you can help me out, help the channel out, help fund all of the projects that I want to accomplish. It's just a sad thing that YouTube is not a way to make money, and it's not that I'm looking to make a living from these videos. I'm just looking for a way to afford to actually make the videos I want to make. So if you go into the description of any one of my videos, you'll see ways to contribute 50 cents, $1, $10 a month, $5 a month, whatever it is, whether it's an anonymous donation to my PayPal account, or if you want to receive a subscription box in the mail once a month that I personally put together, or a postcard in the mail. There's a lot of different ways to support my efforts on patreon.com, patreon.com/the Candle Enthusiast, or just go to patreon.com and in that search bar type in the Candle Enthusiast. Or people they don't like giving money. They don't like giving money. You know what? I get it. You know, some people don't like handing over cash. They'd rather buy something that I can use, a gift for the channel. So what I've done is I put together a wish list of things on Amazon, all video production related items, and anything from a couple dollars to much more generous things that are on a wish list that I could use. Again, all investments for the future of my work. You have my word, I'm not going anywhere. This is something that I am pursuing. I'm dedicated to this endeavor that I've taken on here on YouTube. For better or worse, I'm not giving this up, even though I'm taking some time off right now. So that's always the difficult part for me, to say that I don't like asking, for that kind of stuff. For me, what's most important is that I'm making entertainment for you guys, and that you're enjoying the content that I'm producing. But to be a responsible YouTuber, I always should mention that as much as I can. We got Candle Cafe, Anthony in the house. Very excited for this new chapter in your life, Shane. Take as much time as you need. We want you to enjoy. Thank you, Anthony. And coming from you, that really, really means the world. I didn't plan on taking this much time off. I really, really didn't. The idea was to take about 2 weeks off during Christmas, and that's not what happened. So, but a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes, and I think, it's. I think you nailed it. It's not just about growing and making more content, but I think the stuff that I will be producing and putting out there will really make me happy, and I hope in turn it will make you happy too. Jess KP. Hi Shane, is there a name for your new third channel? Can we subscribe yet? I'm kind of keeping that a secret for right now. I promise I will be posting it everywhere, and there'll be plenty of incentives to subscribe to that new channel yet. I'm just kind of keeping it a secret now because I didn't launch it. Because when I do launch it, I want it to be loaded with videos. I've said this for several weeks. I'm doing audio commentaries on some of my popular travel videos that I've done. So I'm going to be posting all of my travel videos onto the new channel, plus ones with the commentaries, plus I will be polishing up those videos. I will be putting videos that I've never posted, and then when I do launch this third channel, when you go and subscribe, there won't be one video. There will be a plethora of things for you to enjoy. I just need a little bit more time to get some of the artwork ready and again, I want to polish up some of the videos. A lot of the early videos I did were literally shot on 100% on my iPhone. So, I just feel like I can touch them up a little bit, make them a little bit prettier, and maybe chop some of them down as well. So, Jess KP, make sure you swing over to the Facebook fan group, Candle Enthusiast Facebook fan group. That's the best way to keep up to date with everything that's going on with these updates, like the third channel. But also follow me on social media. I'm not a social media hound, but it's just a great way for me to keep in contact with folks. So especially Instagram, candle.enthusiast. Follow me, and I always put little Easter eggs on there of things that I'm working on, and And Jess says, okay, and noted. And of course, take your time. Looking forward to subbing there as well. Thank you so much. 3 channels. 3 channels. Insane. Insane. Okay, folks. So, question of the day. God, I should have thought of this ahead of time. Oh boy, what's a good question of the day? I kind of said this on Facebook already. I kind of proposed a question. Question of the day. If you're watching this later, post it in the comments below, or you can put it in the chat area right now. But if what would be if you had the opportunity to make a spring candle, whether you're a candle maker or you're not a candle maker, what would it be called, or what would it smell like? What's something that would be very special to you? You can go into depth, or you can be very short about it. I think it's a you know. And here's another good question. Here, I like that question, but I feel like I ask that all the time. This is important. Post this everywhere. Here, comments, chat area. What candle companies do you enjoy? Do I enjoy as well? It doesn't matter. What candle companies do you want me to talk about? Is there a candle company? I know a lot of people are talking about Kringle right now because of the sales. A lot of changes with Kringle Candle. I haven't bought Kringle in a long time. Is there a candle company, big or small, that you would like for me to talk about when I start really posting more videos on the Candle Enthusiast? So that's key. Big, small, whatever it may be. What kind of segments do you like? Maybe do you like stuff like this, the archives, comparing old Yankee Candles with new ones? Do you like more up-to-date, spoiler alert information? What's the kind of content that you want to see coming from me personally? We have Anthony in the house. We have wonderful other candle personalities on YouTube, and we all kind of do our own thing. But I think it's important that we don't do the same stuff. So for me personally, what would you like to see me do as far as candles are concerned? Companies, kind of segments, you know, evaluations, or maybe you enjoyed kind of my old style videos where I would just take a candle out and go talk to random people out in the world, have them smell the candles. What's the kind of stuff that you want to see me do for the future of the Candle Enthusiast channel? I want to thank everybody for joining me on this Sunday. I say it every week, and it is completely true. This is always such a highlight of my week. Just to sit down, relax, have some coffee, chat with you guys. Everyone is so friendly, I always just feel relaxed and at ease and at home with you guys. So just thank you for sticking with me, being patient with me as I've been gone, and for just all the support, kindness, and friendship that you've shared with me. And if you guys are leaving comments right now, I'm going to be watching this later on, reading all of your things in the chat area, but also feel free to leave comments. That's going to be it for me. I will be seeing you folks real soon. Thanks for joining. Have a wonderful Sunday. And always remember to live enthusiastically. Think about that. Think about that. I always say it, live enthusiastically, but really let that sink in. It's something I always said, but it's really become a big topic in my life now. It's just how to always remember to live every kind of, even the more challenging moments of our life. How do we keep ourselves living enthusiastically? How do we wake up every day with a good or bad situation and go into it with enthusiasm? I don't know, hate to get deep on you, but something I've been thinking about, stuff that I think about before I fall asleep. Anyway, have a great day, guys. Thank you for joining me. I will be seeing you soon. Bye-bye now. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you haven't already.